Welcome to the Woodshed with Cody Wood on the Equus Radio Network, where some amazing guests stop in, share their stories, and have a few laughs along the way. From the rodeo road to everyday life, it's all part of the ride. Here's your host, Cody Wood.
Cody Wood, the Woodshed with Cody Wood, Equus Radio Network, coming to you live once again here from the Virgin Hotel, and got myself another special guest as we are doing all things Las Vegas. And you talk about Las Vegas and not just the rodeo itself, but all the things going on around the rodeo, whether it's watch parties, pre-parties, after parties, concerts, and more. And right here, got an opportunity to sit down and meet one of the great producers here, one of the great events here in Las Vegas. We're going to bring in Kynan Vine here with Rodeo Reds. Kynan.
Hey, glad to be on, Cody. It's, we're crazy. We're already day 2 of the NFR.
I know, and it's amazing how, it feels like such a gauntlet when we first get here, and it is a gauntlet.
It is.
But night after night, it starts to knock one down after another. Yep. Round number 2, and last night and yesterday was a great night and a great first round and a lot of great rodeo action. But not only a first night for the rodeo, but a first night for Rodeo Reds too, and a lot of what you've been doing. I mean, you've got such a phenomenal career in producing and live events and different things like that, and to bring something very unique and kind of outward thinking, if you will, in my mind, in a couple of different ways with Rodeo Reds here at the Virgin Hotel.
Yeah, we're excited to have partnered with the Virgin and brought our Rodeo Reds party to Las Vegas. And, the Rodeo Reds party is just that. It's been an after party. It started as an after party and it continues to be one. We will have the Rodeo Reds after party here next Thursday, December 11th. But when we got talking with the Virgin and all the things that were going on down here, and I said, it probably wouldn't be the worst idea with the proximity of the Virgin to the building and everything that goes on here to look at doing maybe something like pre-watch party, pre-rodeo party or a show, just to get people here and maybe draw in a bit of a different crowd. And, we really think that Rodeo Reds, although it's, we only started doing these Rodeo Reds parties about a year ago, it's already proven that it has a bit of sense of community and people like to be a part of it. And, if you put the right artists on the stage and the right people in the room, people really come together and really love to support it. So we said, hey, why don't we try that before the rodeo, before the watch party? And so we're calling it the Rodeo Reds pregame show.
Nice. Which
we are doing every day, the first weekend and the second weekend. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 3 to 5 p.m. in 24 Oxford here. And last night was our first night, and we had Hayden Redwine as our headliner, as our musical act, and he, knocked it out of the park. Great country artist from there in West Texas, and he's a real cowboy and sings real cowboy music. And then our special guest segment we have every day kicked off last night with, of course, rodeo legend John Growney was there, and Caleb Bennett, 11-time NFR qualifier in the bareback ride, and then Brinson James, the entertainer, joined us. And so it was a fun group, and we had a great conversation.
Group, and man, you're covering a lot of aspects with those three.
Yeah, well, and again, that's really been the secret sauce to Rodeo Reds is my background and my journey through rodeo, being a second generation rodeo cowboy and bullfighter. And now producer and in the business side of rodeo. Rodeo Reds is really just a amalgamation of all those different worlds and different people that I've had the fortune to connect with over the last 40 years of my life and lifestyle and rodeo. Fantastic. But and that's what we're hoping to bring here every day is just a little bit of a different background, different aspect to to the show and to what really rodeo is. It's just a makeup of a lot of different people with a lot of different backgrounds and a passion for Western sports and Western culture. Right. And it's cool. So last night was great. And today, we have fortunately and excited, but our main act tonight is Nolene Hoffman, and she's a Canadian and a rising star. She's opening as well for Dylan Gossett here at the main theater.
Oh yeah.
Tomorrow night.
Yeah, very good.
So, Nolene's been, she's been touring with Zach Bryan, and she's been touring with Charlie Crockett. So we're just fortunate to get her on the show today. And then our special guests today are going to be 3-time Olympic gold medalist, U.S. Olympic team gold medalist in the bobsled. Steve Messler is in town.
Right.
So we got him coming on the show. And then 5-time qualifier for the NFR, Ryan Motes, is going to be there, along with Bert McGill, who's the owner of Horseman's Park here in the city and a renowned horse trainer. So we thought it'd be great to get him on and get his perspective of everything that's going on right now and how that all works with bringing everybody into the NFR and housing all the animals that come in and out of Las Vegas. And then we also were able to get Quentin Taylor, first-time NFR qualifier in the Saddle Bronc, a fellow Canadian. He's going to be on the show tonight too. So
yeah, perfect.
Yeah, so it's going to be fun.
It is going to. I mean, I cannot wait to take part and to join that. But when you're talking about, creating a community and all that, I mean, a lot of that too is showing proof and entertainment and having fun and providing good quality entertainment and an enjoyable atmosphere to come back to time and time again, and,
For sure.
And that's absolutely what you guys have created, and those special guests and everything else, that adds a lot of flavor to it. You guys are doing things the right way, and love the aspect of the pre-party too, that and kind of the tailgating piece of it too, because like you said, we're here at the Virgin Hotel, the closest atmosphere to the Thomas and Mack. And, so if you're looking to get through town, I experienced it last night, I had to go to an event and the traffic gets real bad around here around 4:00. And you got a 5:30 perf time, I think it catches up with a lot of people how early the rodeo starts, so, I mean, that can't get much better than that too.
No.
And what you guys are doing there. And so, we talked a little bit offline beforehand too, and the artists, you're, specifically finding the right special guests, the right artists, right, that are going to provide that Rodeo Reds brand, right? And very, like you said last night, I mean, that's a cowboy singing cowboy music, and that's exactly why people come to Las Vegas.
Yeah, and that's what it started out as, and we've really done our best to stick with that as our mantra for the brand, is that if you come to Rodeo Reds, there's going to be real cowboys, real cowgirls, and they're going to sing real country music on the stage. And so we're really proud of that, and the artist lineup that we've put together here, and Laura Graham and Boots Graham and my buddy Wyatt Norn. We're a small team from Canada, from Calgary, but we've put together what we think is a great lineup of artists and the special guests. But yeah, I mean, again, it's really about that. Rodeo Reds as an after party is kind of a unique, we'll call it, experience in itself, because it's really about the show, and that's obviously my background and my passion. But it works no matter where you work it, right? And so there's great music and entertainment. There's really cool people in the room to get to mingle with. But then you never know what's going to happen, and you never know who's going to show up. And it might be, some stand-up comedy, and it might be, the random guy standing in the corner could be a performing artist that,
Olympian bobsledder.
Olympian bobsledder. So we bring them all, and we bring them together for that community. And so, I think it's just really cool to be down here, because the NFR, that's what it's all about. And the rodeo is obviously the Super Bowl of rodeo. But what it's become in Las Vegas, in my experience over the last 15 years of coming, is this is a rodeo convention. Yeah. It's a rodeo conference for the industry and for the community. Yeah, and 100%. So they're all here. We're all here. And so it's great to be able to be a part of that. And like you said, the other thing that you figure out over the years, and especially doing events, is how your consumers work and what the pain points are and the pinch points. And I'll tell you what, here in Las Vegas, the travel and getting around town has become crazy with the amount of people that come into town for this event. And not only this event, all the other things that go on in Las Vegas. So the Virgin is, just ideally located right across from the Thomas and Mack. And I tell everybody, hey, you know what, why wouldn't you come here early? Come at 5 o'clock or at 3 o'clock, and park here, get your Uber here, And then after the pregame show, wander over and watch the rodeo, or stay here and watch the rodeo. It doesn't matter. But so, it's also a bit of that, again, figuring out your audience and providing them with something cool and different that actually makes it a little bit easier for them to have a great experience here in Las Vegas.
And you can't have a better testimony as far as our convenience to the Thomas and Mack right now than every one of the tie down ropers are here right now. They want to be as close to their horses as possible. And that's why they stay here. It's for that convenience.
We walked it last night, went to the rodeo last night and walked it. And I don't know, probably at the most it's 10 minutes, right? Being in the door. Yeah. Right? So it's a great spot.
It is a good spot. Yeah. It's a great spot. And that kind of leads me to, the other piece of this that I wanted to mention is, it's funny to me, being around rodeo my whole life and that sort of thing, but you see this more times than you would realize, a bullfighter extending their career into the production side of things. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a reason for that when it comes to being a bullfighter. A lot of people might think that they're just out there doing the bull riding, but the bullfighter is working their tail off in a lot of different aspects of the event, from grabbing flanks and being on the low man on the total pole in a sense, to being at the very highest piece of it and being in front of the biggest stages in the world. And so it makes sense to me that you've had this success in the second half of your career, if you will, in the production side of things. Tell me a little bit about that. How did you go from being, a cowboy protection bullfighter and then freestyle possibly, I'm not sure, but to where you are now and making that transition? Yeah.
I mean, it's exactly what you kind of just explained, but I'm a second generation rodeo guy, and our family actually put on my dad started with a small group, put on a local amateur rodeo. And so I was part of that and on the committee at a young age and putting on the rodeo there, and really just, had a passion for that side of it since I was a young kid and always loved that aspect, but went on and had a professional career in fighting bulls and for a number of years. But after I graduated from college and thought, hey, I should probably have a backup plan. And so I asked the general manager at the time of the Canadian Pro Rodeo Association for a job, and I said, hey, I'll do anything. My education's in marketing, but whatever you need me to do. And so he actually hired me on a part-time basis so I could rodeo on the weekends and work in the pro rodeo office. And I ended up becoming the rodeo administrator for the Canadian Pro Rodeo Association. So I did that for 5 years and then was fortunate enough to get hired by the Calgary Stampede and go on to produce and manage the rodeo and chuck wagons for the Calgary Stampede. And so just kind of, through the years, I put on my own bull riding events and was involved in lots of different rodeo production. The Canadian Finals Rodeo, I was involved in the production and was a producer of the rodeo there for 12 years. But I think the foundation of it, like you mentioned, was from my fighting bulls and working for stock contractors like the Kessler family. And we did everything. And as a bullfighter, you might be the shoot boss, you might be the guy picking up flanks, untying calves, running the strip and shoot. But it was a team effort, and you learn that if you want to get something done, everybody's got to pitch in, and that's how business works and life works. But really in entertainment and production, that's how it is. Like everybody's behind the scenes, and nobody's too good for any job, and you just make it happen. And so that's, I really had a passion for that side of it and have been fortunate enough to make a career of that since, retiring from fighting bulls. But, and just in general, like that's just my personality and how my mind works is very creative. And I love to create and come up with all the elements from the opening to all the, sponsorship activations and the show. Right. Yeah. And so I've been fortunate to be able to, create and produce the opening ceremonies for the MLB All-Star game in Arlington last year. And a lot of different things you've done. And I've worked some football and hockey and different sports and, obviously in the music side of things and producing some events there. So it's, but it's all generally the same because it's a background in event production and having a passion for it. So, it's been an interesting in career, and I've been fortunate to make a living doing it since, not actively being part of rodeo, but it definitely stems from having that background fighting bulls.
Yeah, and you just set that up perfectly where I was going to go with that too, is because I think there's a lot of rodeo people that would say this too, but your experience specifically, right? Like, it's not just rodeo. You talked about the MLB, obviously the live music and some of the other things in football and hockey and whatnot. But how many times have you gone to a great sporting event and their opening or whatever the case may be might be a little bit soft in some areas? I feel like us as a rodeo community, we got the opening and some of the pageantry, if you will, down when it comes to sports. And so you being able to bring, that piece of rodeo and what you do there, and then to bring it to some other sports, I bet you that's, just a great element to bring, and have that a little bit extra flair at some of those outside of rodeo events.
Oh yeah. And it's interesting because when you've worked in rodeo production, I mean, we're dealing with live animals. And so you never know what's going to happen. And really at the end of the day, we can put the plan together and I mean, you look at the rodeo here and they say, we're going to be done in an hour and 55 minutes. And a lot of times they are done in an hour and 55 minutes, which is just, God, really. Like there's nothing else to say about it. Then it's a blessing that we could make that happen when all of the elements you're dealing with are due to live animals and unpredictability. Right. And they don't know that it's a live show, and they don't know that we're trying to keep a schedule of down to the second. Yeah. But that's the way that we've been able to create these shows through rodeo. And other sports and other live event productions don't have to deal with that element. Yeah. They don't have the unpredictability. So when they say this is going to happen at 6:05 p.m., it really can happen at 6:05 p.m. Right. And so that was an adjustment for me coming from rodeo and bull riding productions and, freestyle bullfighting productions, which is even more chaos to control, as going to another live event where you don't have to deal with that. And you're kind of, oh, what's going on here? Like, it's pretty, I mean, I'm not saying it's easy and easier, but it is, a different way of dealing with those things and having the ability to then add in more of that showmanship and the production elements, because you can, have the time and in essence, there's not the other side of it that you're just mitigating risk. Yeah. Right. And so, it's been interesting to, say go to baseball. The pace is a lot different in baseball than it is in rodeo. And those openings and the different elements. I mean, even the first time that I was involved in doing some baseball, I was in Kalispell, Montana. I came down to help my buddy Johnny Greco. They started a baseball team down there in Kalispell a couple years ago, the Range Riders. And I didn't really know what to expect going to do baseball. Yeah. And I mean, you're doing the kind of opening ceremonies and doing the anthem and doing whatever. And there's guys out on the field just playing catch and, warming up. And I said, man, that's just the strangest thing to me, because when we're doing an opening for a rodeo, nobody's in the arena. Nobody's out there circling their horse, getting it warmed up with their rope, right? Yeah,
you're getting yelled at.
That's the show. That's part of the show, and that's part of the experience for the fans. Is you come to a rodeo or a bull riding event, and the show starts when the lights go down, right? Yeah. And so it's been interesting to bring some of those elements to other sports or other entertainment, which is often a conversation, that we get into with rodeo, saying, oh, we need to catch up with other sports and we need to catch up with other entertainment, and look what they're doing over here. And, oh, they got projection mapping at hockey games now and all these crazy videos and whichever. And that's true. But again, completely different application for some of those elements when you talk about different entertainment. Whereas rodeo, and I'm just saying this as an advocate, obviously, for rodeo and the product that we put out. Rodeo brings its own elements and its own show that other sports don't have. And they're not doing it the way we're doing it yet. right? So I think that's a lot of times that's a conversation, and you probably notice this too, where everybody goes, well, we need to be catching up to all these other sports. And I'm like, well, we are, but just because we're doing it differently doesn't mean we're not doing it as good.
Yeah, and doing it the right way too. Like I said, I mean, that's like right when we're going into that, and some of that different rodeo production that you can bring to other sports, And so I would love to see that, and it's awesome to see too. And like I think you're talking about baseball, with the Savannah Bananas and everything that they've done, and trying to eliminate any sort of hurdle, for the fan experience. I mean, I just love sports in general. Love the opportunity to learn from other ones and have them learn from us, like you were saying, and have an ultimate product that is as good as possible for that fan and for that viewership, whether it's live or on air, and so when you're talking about Rodeo Reds and being, live and right here and some of the different aspects to deal with, and when you're talking about entertainment, and maybe I think I'm probably right, but music is king, right?
Yeah.
Music drives the needle probably more than anything else in a lot of different ways. And what's that been like? Working when dealing with some of those artists, maybe they're not live animals, but I'm sure they could still also be a little bit unpredictable at times too.
Well, and it is the music industry. Again, when you go from entertainment industry to entertainment industry, and everybody probably assumes, well, they wear a cowboy hat and they sing country music, and so it's got to be similar, and it's not. I've learned that it's not. And over the years, my belief in creating any of my shows that I do, and probably been maybe a little bit more of a driver for this even on the rodeo side, is I believe that the music is key to our event and our production, because I always say, like, the announcer, and this being an announcer, you can't say anything to make somebody feel something. You can't tell them to be happy. You can't tell them to be excited. You can't tell them to, feel emotional about this, presentation. Only music has the ability to affect somebody's emotions. Right. In a show. So you think about a movie soundtrack, you think, those moments are only made by the music that is played. And so I've really focused on that in my shows over the years, and then integrating live music into rodeos and into, our bull riding events and different things has been an interesting, endeavor over the last number of years. And, the year that I was part of producing the American Rodeo in Arlington, we had Tim McGraw and Faith Hill in a halftime show. And again, like, there's a bit of unpredictability and timing that goes into those shows as well, right? Especially when you're integrating music like that and an act like that into the rodeo itself. And so, that's been interesting endeavor. And then doing just music and getting into that side of it. I mean, I can't claim that I'm any sort of expert in the industry, but I, have brought some partners in and got some great people around me that are very knowledgeable, because it's a whole different beast, and it's a complicated industry, definitely complicated industry. But I mean, the country music artists, and that's probably why there's a lot that are cowboys. They're so similar to our, to our culture and to our lifestyle and our people, the cowboys in the rodeo. So it's really cool to kind of get to know some of them as well.
Yeah, because they're so unique and interesting in their own right, and they have their own stories. And so when you're going to Rodeo Reds and the opportunity to have such great entertainment right in front of you, and I mean, yesterday, John Growney, Brenton James, Caleb Bennett, I mean, that is a wide range of different entertainers in their own right. And so looking for more things, right? So every Thursday, Friday, Saturday this weekend.
Yep.
And then start right back up next weekend, right?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, yeah. So tonight we got Nolene Hoffman. Tomorrow night we have Colton Jesse. And Colton Jesse is, of course, a former PBR bull rider in his own right, and a very successful bull riding career, but a very successful music career that he's got going.
Yeah,
so excited to have Colton on. Tomorrow's special guest that we have on the show, Paige Champion, Richie Champion. Of course, Paige Champion is a former Olympian, Canadian Olympian figure skater herself.
Oh, yeah.
So now obviously married to Richie Champion, and so she's a friend of mine, and we're going to have them on the show with Jenna Moore, Teton Ridge, and again, just kind of a cool mixed bag of guests and different perspectives, and so the show tomorrow will be a good one too.
Perfect. And then the big party on the 11th.
Yep.
Great opportunity there just to have another big time night for you guys on.
Yeah.
And kind of duplicate some of the success you've had in the past.
Yeah, and the Rodeo Reds parties. I mean, we do have musical acts that we hire and bring in for Rodeo Reds. So we've got Sterling Drake and his band. We've got Dave Stamey coming in to play for a bit. We've got Kelsey Kulik and Morgan Kleiber, again, great country music singers from up there in Canada that are going to come and be a part of the show. But those are the official acts, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's kind of part of the Rodeo Reds. The Rodeo Reds plan is we bring together as many artists and cowboys and cowgirls and industry people as we can in the room, and you never know who's actually going to get up on stage and perform. So it's going to be an exciting night being in Vegas, and all the people that we know are in town, if they show up, man, it's going to be a pretty cool party.
Yeah, that will be fun. That'll be a lot of fun, and looking forward to it. Looking forward to joining you. It's been great right here, like you said, folks. Kynan Vine, thank you so much for being here with me today and talking about Rodeo Reds. Thank you for providing such a great opportunity for rodeo fans, just in general, but let alone in this great location too, in the Virgin Hotel.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess probably one thing I should mention is that all of the pregame shows are free. It's no ticket. So you just show up, and 3 o'clock every day we'll get fired up, and looking forward to the rest of the week.
Nice. Well, folks, thank you again for joining us here with the Woodshed, and what a great opportunity here with Kynan and his team with Rodeo Reds. So if you're in Las Vegas and you're headed to the Thomas and Mack, or you're just looking for a good party, 3 o'clock, Rodeo Reds, again today, again tomorrow, next Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'm telling you, there's no better way to kind of just simplify your life, have yourself a great time, and be this close to the rodeo action here at the Virgin Hotel as well. So, Kynan, thank you once again for being here, man. Looking forward to getting over and partying with y'all at the Rodeo Reds too. But so folks, make sure join us once again tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. We've got a really special guest. We're talking about live music here today with Kynan. So that's a good little hint on who we might have here tomorrow, and one of the great drummers that has ever walked on the face of this earth. And I cannot wait for them to be here as well. But we won't be able to know who that is. Take a little bit of lesson from the Rodeo Reds guys. Have a little surprise for you tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Pacific time. So we look forward to seeing y'all there. Y'all have a good rest of your day, and enjoy round number 2 of the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo.
If you enjoyed the podcast, let us know. Contact Cody Wood at cody@equistelevision.net. Thanks for listening, and join us every week right here on the Equus Radio Network.